by now, I hope you're starting to see how all this is working. This is our third task already. We should have already completed at this point studying our notes from the drama circle. We should have also completed at this point, or at least partially completed, the vocabulary awareness chart. Maybe the only thing on that page that we haven't done is the definition for the words that we didn't quite know yet. And then after we've read this one, which is task number 3, after we've read this one, we can actually go back to this page to get those things that we were missing earlier. But this next task is also a very easy task. I'm literally just going to read this text. Now, this is where your studying of these terms and concepts comes in handy, because your job is to read the text but annotate for any of these things that you find in the text. So, for example, right off the bat, this scene takes place in an apartment above Kernet's candy store in Yonkers, New York. So already in this first 2 paragraphs right here, I'm already getting at the societal context. That's one of the drama circle elements. I'm already getting at what's going on in the world at that time. If you remember back in the notes, especially if you watch the video, that's the background circumstances. That's the setting. That's the time period. That's the history. That's what's going on in the world at that time. Pretty much all I'm going to do is read through this text and just annotate for those things that I find. I might have to read 2, maybe 3 times to make sure I'm finding these things. And I think what's important to note here is that as I'm annotating, I want to make sure that I'm annotating these things that help me understand the characters better. So for example, I don't want to annotate for just any random stage directions. I want to annotate for stage directions that help me understand the characters. I don't want to annotate any part of the script. I want to annotate parts of the script that help me understand any of the characters. I don't want to annotate just any random dialogue. I want to annotate dialogue that helps me understand the character better. So again, I'm just going to read this text, and already as I'm reading it, I already see something that kind of sticks out to me. Dad here asks, so this dialogue, again, I'm annotating for this dialogue. But this dialogue sticks out to me because Eddie, which is the father in the situation, Eddie asks his son, Artie, what are you crying about? And Artie, which is important here, his dialogue says nothing. So I'm paying special attention to this dialogue here because what he's doing is he's crying, but he says he's crying about nothing. So a good thing to note here might be something along the lines of, why is he crying? Because again, that gives me some insight into what this character might be thinking. And as I read this text, as I continue reading, I might want to take notes for any of the stage directions or any further dialogue, or perhaps even a soliloquy that gives me insight into what the character is thinking that'll help me understand the character of Artie better. This is all on you. You're going to read this text and you're going to decide what drama elements from the drama circle do you notice in this text that help you understand the characters better. Now, I realize that some of you might be doing this in Google Classroom, and if you are doing this in Google Classroom, it might be very, very hard for you to annotate. So I understand completely if you choose not to annotate, for those of you that are just going to read the text in Google Classroom. However, if you have a printer at home, I would recommend that you print out the passage so you can take your notes. At the end of the day, this page is for your reference anyway. Your English 1 teachers are not taking this for a grade. This is just for your own notes, for your own reference, so that you can continue on back to this page when you're done reading, and so that you can do task number 4, which is the last activity, when you're done reading the passage.